I'm Captain Mike Hankin with the Marshalltown Police Department, and earlier this year I took over duties as the nuisance officer for the city of Marshalltown. What that means and what that job details is that I handle code enforcement for the city. That is violations of municipal ordinances involving property maintenance, grass and weeds, to complaints of front yard parking, backyard parking, you name it. If it's a violation of a city ordinance that pertains to properties and maintaining of those properties, those complaints come to me, and I take care of notifying property owners of the complaint and working with them for voluntary compliance to either correct the property's issues on their own, or if needed, contracting with local vendors to mow, maintain properties, or clean properties as needed, and then take assessment actions after that. That little blue mark is the 10-inch line.
Really? Do you have cases like this where the bank owns them and they don't get mowed?
Yep, number of those.
You go after the bank then?
Yep, we send the same procedures. I send a certified letter and a regular mail letter to the bank explaining what the nuisance violation is, giving them X amount of days to take care of it or contact me. And if they don't respond back, and some of these are out of state, but by code, by city ordinance, I can mow the property after posting it. So we will send our contractors down to mow the properties at that point. And then the bill goes to the property owner first, and if it's a financial institution, it'll be assessed to that institution for payment.
I saw in a couple of city councils where people were complaining about a house that was abandoned and had a fire that burned a hole through the roof and stuff.
That was at 1010 Prairie Lane, and that house not only had had a fire, but had had water damage when pipes broke during the winter. And so not only was there fire damage, but there was water damage compounding the issues with that property.
So does that belong to a bank, or is it?
That belongs to Bank of America, I believe, out in New York City. So, and they've been sent notice by not only the former nuisance officer, but by the city attorney as well, for restitution or resolution of the property. The way that the nuisance property compliance procedures work is that a complaint will come in to the police department either on the code enforcement telephone number, which is 754-5759, or they can contact me directly at 754-5730, or by email, and explain the complaint, provide the address that the location is where the violations are occurring. And then what happens is I will go out, or I'll send an officer out, and we'll check the property to see what the complaint happens to be, whether or not it meets the threshold for a nuisance violation. Say it's a complaint on long grass. Actually, the city cannot take enforcement action until the length of the grass is over 10 inches. So that's quite a little bit of height that we have to first endure before we can take official action. When I go out to take a look at a property, what I do is measure, if it's a grass complaint, the height of the grass, and photograph that measurement so that I have an accurate depiction of how that property looks, both the length of the grass and the entire property, so that if there is a concern from the property owner who may live out of state, If it's a private person that owns the property or a financial institution that has bought a property from a sheriff's sale or a foreclosure, I can provide them with the four-corner view of the property showing the issues that are being addressed. When I return to the police department after photographing and looking at these properties, I have to check the Marshall County Assessor's page to see who the property owner of record are. That way I know who to send the official notices to, and those notices will first be sent by certified mail, explaining what the violations are to the property owner, giving them a set time to take care and bring the property into compliance. And then not only is it sent certified mail, but it's also sent regular mail, because there are times when certified mail is not received or accepted. And if I send it by regular mail and that letter does not come back to me, then the process I can consider has been served at that point, since the letter has not come back. After the notice has been sent and the appropriate times have either expired or come close, I will go out and check those properties to see if there's any compliance and bringing them into code regulations. If there's not, if it's a grass complaint, I will post a notice on the door of that property, which is a 3-day notice that says that if the property is not mowed and brought into formal compliance by the date listed on the notice, then I will contract with a couple of vendors to go out and mow the property, trim any trees, weed eat around the foundation if there's noxious weeds that are growing, and then those fees, along with the administrative fees for the processing of the complaint, are assessed to the property owner. That property owner will then either have an option to pay that bill, contest that bill, or do nothing, and if that's the case, then they're assessed to the property taxes, which are taken care of by the county. We have had companies from out of state that will ask about the condition of the property and what it was like when we started the enforcement, and then how it looked after it was mowed, so that they can justify paying the associated fees that go with that service.
They've already been warned.
Their letters and stuff were in the mail. This is their first notice on mowing, but it's been sent certified and it's been sent regular mail.
What's the ultimate? I mean, what can the city do if they refuse to take care of it?
If the property owner refuses to mow and maintain the property to bring it into compliance, the city will mow it and serve notice upon the property owner in the form of first a bill and then an assessment on the property taxes if the initial bill is not paid.
And that's the same for that house with the hole in the roof. There's nothing in the ordinances about the condition of the house.
Yes, there is. There's other. Here's a property that we needed to serve notice on, and we'll still serve notice on because
They mowed the front.
they haven't got the whole thing done. No.
Get us out of the line where it stopped mowing.
I would. Yeah. Back up.
Oh wait,
Oh, yeah, there could be snakes too. For people that have questions on the city ordinances and what the specific ordinance has to say, you can look those up online. If you just go online and Google Marshalltown City Ordinances, then you should be able to pull those up as a PDF file. You can search through those. There's a code index, and then there's actually the code to download. Most property issues start around the 2159 to 2161 areas of the city code. You can find those in there that explains not only the various violations, but the due process that the city must go through when we notify owners of various violations. There's a city ordinance that prohibits trees and bushes from impeding traffic into an alley. This time of the year, obviously some of the most recent complaints have been long grass. We've had an exceptionally wet spring and early summer with a lot of rainfall, as it was doing today when we were out. That is our most foremost complaint this year, as I said, long grass. Some of the other complaints that we receive are complaints of dilapidated properties. Those might be properties that have basement windows that aren't sealed up, that could allow vermin or access to others that aren't supposed to be on the property inside. Broken windows and doors that constitute property maintenance issues. Roofs that aren't properly shingled and sealed from the weather. All those things sometimes go hand in hand with what the mowing issues are, because these are either abandoned properties or properties that are foreclosed. And unfortunately, some of these are properties that are actually being lived in by people, either rental properties or homes that are a single family dwelling, that we must work with those homeowners and renters to bring those conditions up so that they have a property that they can live in and be safe in. And the other issue, like I said, with the rain like it is, we really have to be careful in how we judge what we consider to be a property that's close to being over the 10-inch mark.
Well, it does make it harder to move.
It does, and you got to give people the opportunity to get out there and get things done when it is dry. But it'll certainly get away from you if you let it.
So the grass ordinance, is that for aesthetics, or is there a health concern?
There's health concerns, obviously mosquitoes. You get the lawn with snakes, rodents, anything like that. This property we're coming up to now not only has violations of garbage. Make sure that's 28. Okay. And a little better. Here's the one we're talking about. You can see the TV in the front. It looks like they've tried to mow, but there are the other issues that we'll be addressing. And I've got two notices here because there's two different people that have the property.
What, there's an apartment in there? Or two owners?
Two owners. It's owned by this one, and then he's selling on contract to the other. As we work through this busy spring and summer season with the property maintenance issues and grass issues, it's always been the Marshalltown Police Department's goal and hope to get voluntary compliance from property owners, landlords, in working with us on these issues. It's health and safety issues. It's aesthetic value to the not only the property that is in question, but to the surrounding properties. And we hope that everyone will work together and be good neighbors, good stewards of the community to clean those properties up, keep them mowed, and help keep Marshalltown a beautiful place to live in. If you have questions on property maintenance or nuisance control or code enforcement, you can contact me, and my name again is Captain Mike Hankin. My contact information is area code 641-754-5730. That's my direct office line. Or you can get a hold of me by email at mhanken, that's MHANKEN, at ci.marshalltown.ia.us. That's my email address. Or you can mail it to me at the Marshalltown Police Department. And the address here is 22 North Center Street, Marshalltown, Iowa, 50158. And once again, if we can all work together on some of these issues, I know that we can get quick resolution, which will help not only the property owners, but their surrounding neighbors.